Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of The Pulse. We're going to be diving into the Microsoft roadmap and bring to you what's new and what's happening. It's Tom and myself this week. Both Jennifer and Adam are busy putting out fires. So we're going to dive into the roadmap. Tom, why don't you get us started?
Sure. So there's not a lot of brand new stuff out there that kind of like go, wow, that's really earth shattering, at least in my world. Um, but to cover some of the things that could be of interest to others, because it's not just all about me, is,
And this is all the stuff that's in development.
and this is all the stuff that's in development. So Booking's got a number of items hitting the in development that are going to be rolling out anywhere from March, April, and June. But I'm just going to go over them real quickly. Bookings. So you're going to have tenant level settings for SMS notifications. So you'd be able to enable or disable those SMS notifications based on, whether you want people to be able to get those in your use of bookings. Onboarding and landing page, the onboarding experience and a landing page for managing booking calendars, that's coming for you. Graph APIs with app permission support, that's coming for you.
You make
Power
it sound like a stalker movie. That's
boom,
coming
boom,
for you.
boom, boom, bookings. Boom, boom, boom. Um, completely off my game now. Power
Sorry.
Automate integration support for a Power Automate custom connector for bookings, and I'm sure people are going to love that. Bookings for E1 and business basic licenses. So it's starting to filter down into some of the lower licenses, which is great for small businesses being able to use something like bookings where perhaps they weren't able to do that before without paying additional money. Multi-staff availability, booking appointments when multiple staff are available. Again, that's really nice if you have multiple people available to handle the things that you're doing bookings, not just one person being targeted there. And finally, a naming policy, support naming policy for bookings calendar with custom prefix, suffix, and blocked words. So people cannot, type in, it's like, you really me over, blah, blah, blah. I need to, yeah, they can block all those things out so they don't show up. So those are all the things that are coming out in bookings that are really cool. I'm going to go ahead and hit on one other one that Tamara didn't mention earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and take it. It's kind of one of the geeky things that normally Adam would end up taking. But data loss prevention, archived file support. So they're finally rolling out to where when you're doing scanning for sensitive content, it's actually going to be able to dive into zip and ARJ files and find content in there. So people can't zip up a bunch of content and put it out there thinking that, oh, it's a zip file, they can't see into it. Well, now they're going to be able to see into it, and that should be coming out in April of this year. Worldwide, it doesn't appear that it's coming out to GCC, GCC High, or DoD.
Great. And a couple things for Microsoft Teams. So in Microsoft Teams, upload your approval request via the Power Automate portal. So files that are uploaded within Power Automate portal will now show within the View Details window of an approval request within Teams. And that's due to roll out the end of March, but it is in development and we are getting pretty close to the end of March. The other thing that's coming is for anonymous or guest users, um, being able to see live captions in Microsoft Teams meetings on the desktop. So that's coming out in April of 2022. Tom, did you have anything else in development that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I got a couple other ones I'm just going to touch on real briefly. One, in SharePoint, you've got site template history. So now you're going to be able to view the history of any site templates applied to your site and related site script actions. So if that's something you do as part of your development, you're going to have a little bit more control over seeing when things were done, when things were applied, things like that. There's one other thing in Outlook, global calendars for Outlook on the web. So this isn't for the Outlook client on your desktop, it's a web-based one. Users can add a second calendar type to display. They can choose from a variety of global calendars. Now, I'm not sure what global calendars means. I'm thinking it could mean, hey, I'm going to do a global calendar for France, let's say, and maybe it's going to have French holidays and stuff like that actually put out there. And so if you've got a field office in France and you want to put a calendar out there and you kind of want to know what things may affect their availability, this could be something that would be really good for you. So keep an eye open for that. That's supposed to be coming in May.
All right. Let's roll on out to rolling out. This is the rolling out section. This means you may or may not see it in your tenant because it is just in the process of rolling out. Yeah. So I've got something for Microsoft Teams that is near and dear to my heart, and that is join meetings in other clouds anonymously from your Teams desktop app. So this allows you to join across clouds, and there's a lot of trials and tribulation for joining across clouds right now. So what's going to happen is Microsoft is going to enable this in 3 phases. So first, it'll be the commercial tenants and GCC customers that will be able to join meetings in GCC High and DoD clouds. Then after all of that is settled, Microsoft is going to enable the GCC customers to join commercial, GCC, and DoD meetings. And then the last one to get any love is the DoD cloud. And so what will happen is the DoD cloud will then be able to seamlessly join commercial, GCC, GCC High meetings. Now, this is starting to roll out in March, which means it's rolling out to the commercial client. Once it's all rolled out to the commercial client, then it'll roll out to GCC High, and then finally it will roll out to the DoD. One that we've already touched on is pin chat messages. So you can pin a Teams chat message to drive awareness to provide the chat members with quick access to important content. Now, pinning is going to help your team stay in sync on what's relevant in a timely manner. This item has been delayed for GCC and is being rescheduled, but it's available in the commercial cloud. And as Tom has pointed out before, you can only pin one chat message. So if you try and pin another one, it's like, would you like to replace this pinned chat? So what do you have, Tom?
So there's a couple things I've seen out here. One, I'm going to kind of step on your GCC, GCC High, and DoD theme that you generally tend to go with, and that's Visio web app in Microsoft. So this release will extend the availability of the Visio web app to GCC, GCC High, DoD, and other sovereign clouds. To make diagramming more accessible, we brought core Visio capabilities to Microsoft 365 commercial subscribers, enable anyone to create, edit, share, and co-author professional diagrams with team members across the organization. So the fact that you don't have a full-on Visio client just to do simple diagrams, but professional diagrams, is kind of a cool thing. And the fact that they're now rolling it out to all the other tenants, GCC, GCC High, and DoD, I think is a very positive thing. That is in rolling out, so you should be seeing it anytime at this point. The other one is Microsoft Stream, improve audio quality with noise suppression for Stream on Sharepoint. So this is the new version of Stream, not Stream Classic. Noise suppression helps both creators and viewers isolate speech from ambient noise, music, and other sounds, making voice more intelligible, provided you can speak and get the words out in the first place. Noise suppression significantly reduces ambient noise, bringing more clarity to speech in videos. Again,
I need to point out, babies crying and dogs barking count as human voices.
Yes, those are not ambient noises, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think this is really critical, especially as everybody moved away from the office, was working from home. You've got a bunch of background noise that you may not be able to control. You may be trying to trying to work in a coffee shop or something like that. This feature really helps you to get to a point where you're not fighting with the noise. Or if you're in the car and there's a lot of street noise and you're trying to work that way, this again is a way to get a better video with less background noise that you would normally have. So that's rolling out starting this month, and it's to Microsoft Stream, SharePoint, OneDrive Worldwide, which is where the stream videos end up getting stored now. So
And
that's a good one.
What Tom means by working in the car is that you're in the passenger seat and you are not driving.
Sure, let's go with that.
Tom, you
Those
want
are
to
the
kick
only
us
things I
off and
have.
launched?
Sure. Launch. There is not a lot of stuff
It's
that
nothing.
we're going to be able to cover here because we've probably already talked about it before, or it's all the geeky stuff that none of us really understand with
Mm-hmm.
being here. One thing that we have is in Microsoft Search, connector results on all vertical. So results from Microsoft Graph connectors will be available through the all vertical as a result cluster in Microsoft Search. Again, if you're doing a lot of customization and things like that into Microsoft Search, this is something that's going to be able to help you to get a different or a more robust user experience based on what your requirements might be. The only other one I saw in here that kind of piqued my interest, and it may already be out on your client. In fact, it's launched. It should already be out there on your client. But if you're using OneDrive, a 64-bit OneDrive client now is available for download. It will only be supported on AMD 64-based devices. So again, given that pretty much all the software we do these days is 64-bit instead of 32, they're kind of bringing OneDrive into that world. So your OneDrive sync client that's sitting down there in the lower right corner of your screen that you can click and show when things have been replicated over and stuff like that, that now should be a 64-bit client, which you'll definitely want to check out if you want to be using the latest and greatest and being able to utilize more memory and all those good things.
Great. And there is nothing in launch that excited me this week. I have nothing to talk about in launched.
And I think we're done because we don't have any cancellations either.
I know there's nothing in canceled. So thank you so much for tuning in with us. This was a short Pulse cast. And tune in next week when hopefully we'll have Jen and Adam back with us and have more to talk about in launched. So thanks so much and have a great week. Bye now.